Hello, hello, hello. So, this is a video for Isabel Esteves, and I hope I pronounced the name properly. Of course, I did. And now I'm going to just read the comment and make this video around that comment so I can help Isabel to figure it out the meaning of life here. Hello, Henry. I really like your channel. I love how you have I love how you have so much fun animating, and you inspire me to keep learning animation. Thank you very much, Isabel. I saw some of your videos animating with rigs, and I was wondering if you could make a video with the basics of rig animation in Toon Boom, like the express keys you use, your methods, etc. It will be really helpful for someone like me who is just starting in rig animation and has only drawn frame by frame before. Thanks. Isabel, that's the best thing ever because if you already have experience drawing frame by frame, then just going to cut out, it will be easy. Let me close my window. It will be easy. I'm not the kind of dude that likes to create very appealing videos with a structure, and I like to improv. I like to improv and just taking the best out of me during that improv moment. So let's revise your question. I love questions. I love questions. I'm like an addict of questions. That's the thing that I do the most to my mentors, asking questions. Hello, Henry. Animation is also a video animation rigs. I was wondering if you could make a video with the basics of rig animation. Basics of rig animation. That's interesting because the moment that we say basic, this is like, hmm, maybe there are step-by-step process to get out of that basic level. So that's something cool to explore. Like the express keys you use, interesting. You mentioned express keys, your methods. Like this will be like workflows, etc. It will be really helpful for someone like me who is just starting in rig animation and has only drawn frame by frame. Okay, just starting in rig animation but already have experience in frame by frame. Like the main key thing that I will highly recommend for you, Isabel, is the following. Is this is something because I started with cutout animation and then I moved to frame by frame animation. But I remember when I started doing 3D animation, the first thing that I was looking for is I was asking like how can I break this gap of this freedom that I feel of doing 2D animation with 3D animation, because I want to experience in the same way that I feel in doing 2D in 3D. So I wanted to break that gap that wasn't not allowing me to get there because of the technical limitations that I had at the moment of not knowing the software. So the moment that I just wanted to learn Maya so fast in order for me to start enjoying the animation process and not being limited by the technical stuff. So that for me will be the best recommendation for you is like starting in rig animation and all drawn frame by frame before. Okay, so is to reduce the gap. Is to reduce the gap between between what you between how freely can you express in frame by frame and and in cutout. So I'll just put it like there, reduce the gap. For me, that's the most important thing. And because you already have experience as a frame by frame animator, you'll be super easy. So let's go. Interface for me, the most one of the most important things because I'm using the iPad. Oh, I'm also using the iPad. So I put on TikTok how to use the iPad as a second monitor of a MacBook Pro, and I found a video, and I was able to connect this with the laptop. So this is like my new Wacom. My Wacom is like under my bed. I don't need it anymore because I really like this. It's like, dude, I can move this around. So it's super cool. Interface for me, that's one of the most important things, and then we can go to shortcuts and preferences. So here on interface, as you can see, let me make this smaller because this is not capturing the entirety of the iPad screen. But there you go. That is why I mentioned the iPad. So my interface, super simple, super simple. I remember I had a friend in college that I used to tell her like, you know what? Every time that you have the opportunity to talk with one of your teachers, it's like ask them how is that you organize your interface and why you use the interface like this, or which are the shortcuts that you use. Do you have a special shortcuts? And it's very cool because at the beginning sometimes we start messing up with this. It looks so awful, the interface, and it will be the best. The ideal to have very well organized. It's like if we are going to prepare some food, we're going to have all the ingredients around the table very well organized so we can use them and cook. I know nothing about cooking, but that's the best reference that I found. So here in the top part, one of the things that I have, one of the main things that I have enabled here is the shift and trace. Sometimes you will have to go back and do frame by frame, even though you are doing cutout animation. So I really recommend enabling the shift and trace here, and it will appear here. This here is the tools bar. So if I click here in tool presets, that thing will, oops, oh no, that shit is not that. I'm not a technical nerd. So I will highly recommend just taking a screenshot of this, and if you would like this interface, just use it like this. It's fairly simple. It's almost like the one that comes with Toon Boom. But I have two main differences. Is that I have my node view here and I have my drawing substitution here. Why? Because with my drawing substitution, every time that I'm working and I need to create a new drawing, for example, of this hand, I can see how many hand drawings I have here, so I can easily change or easily see in which layer I am working on. So very important for me, the most important windows to have here in Toon Boom is the drawing substitution here in the corner and the node view here. For example, I want to do some changes on the rig while I am animating. I press here, I select the part that I want to change. I go here inside of the node view, I press G. That's one of my shortcuts, G. I'm going to be like an old dude and write the stuff here in this paper of my shortcuts, so you can have it at the end of the video, because I created some amazing shortcuts. G is to focus on layer, on selected layer. Focus on selected layer. I can also export these shortcuts and send it to you. You can send me a DM through Instagram, and I can send you a Google Drive link for you to download the shortcuts that I use. And I'm going to talk about shortcuts eventually. So there you go. Drawing substitution in one corner, node view in another corner, camera view here, and tool and this toolbar over here. Amazing. Now let's talk about the timeline view. The timeline view is tricky because I do cutout and I also do frame by frame animation. So I have a mix of both here. And if you can see the things that I have enabled here in my timeline view is, first of all, the timeline view normal stuff. Also, I have the flip. I have the mark drawing. I have the flip and mark drawing. Flip and mark drawing are specific for frame by frame animation. So for example, I mark all of these keys. I mark three keys here, and if I select this key bottom here, that will select this frame as a key. And if I select this as a key, this will be a key now. See that it instantly added a mark, a color mark on top of the drawing. And if I go here and I press V, that adds a breakdown here. And with this tool here, if I select this tool here, which is the the flip option, if I click on keys, this will only flip between my keys. And if I press here breakdowns, it will flip between my keys and breakdowns. Or for example, if I have here another drawing and I select this as a breakdown and I deselect the key, I can flip between my breakdowns. And that's amazing because it's not only useful in frame by frame animation, but it's also useful, for example, here, if I want to do some drawovers on top of my rig, and I selected these two, I created a new layer to create those drawovers, and I went here on top of these two frames that I want to be my keys, and I selected those to be keys. I can flip between these two and just look at the keys and analyze and do some drawovers for me. Now, how can we reduce this gap between what you can do right now as a frame by frame animator and wanting to be a Toon Boom animator? That gap is reduced by being able to feel, as I mentioned, as to mention as soon as possible, to feel the way that you feel, the freedom that you feel doing frame by frame animation. And the cool thing is, like, the knowledge of the frame by frame of a frame by frame animator applying into a cutout animation style is what makes a cutout animator go into the next level. A cutout animator that doesn't have very good drawing skills or a very well knowledge of frame by frame animation is too limited. It's too limited, and all my process is a combination of both. So it's frame by frame animation and cutout animation. Henry, how is that possible? It's totally possible. It's totally possible, and I might also find here a reference for you. I'm going to show you a scene really fast here. Sand, fight, polish. It's a combination of both. It's a combination of both. See, for example, I have this scene here. Roar! And then the dog, boom, boom, and then, pooah! But if you see here, me moving pieces of the rig frame by frame is such a boring thing for me. I hate just moving things. I love to draw. And imagine doing this walk cycle moving, well, almost walk cycle moving towards the front of the camera. Imagine doing that, just moving pieces. you will take a lot of time. It will take a lot of time, and I will waste a lot of time moving the formers into something until something happens. So guess what? I did something, and I hope I have that something here. Please, 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 please. I hope I have this thing. Where are you? Where are you? Maybe I have it around here. Yeah, somewhere around here. Rough animation, no drawing. Awesome. Here you are. Drawing, posing. Let's bring this to. See all of these crazy notes that I have here. Most of them are draw overs that I did on top of my rigs. So oopsie, oopsie. Let me go here, connect these in here. Let's see if we can see these things. Awesome. Look at this. This is where your frame by frame knowledge will come here to the game. Because first, before animating the rig, what I did here, you can see even on John. You see this rough pass of John here? I did a rough pass of John, and then on top of that rough pass, I added the rig. Right now it's a little bit desynchronized because I didn't scale John, and then I moved some stuff around that. But if you will ask me about my methods and about my techniques, this is the real thing. It's just like this. I will divide my method in 3 steps. First of all, rough animation or rough pass. This rough pass is something like you are seeing here in John. See, it's like a traditional animator making a rough pass out of simple shapes, out of simple rhythms. And on top of that rough pass, I eventually grab my rig, I put it on top of my rough pass, and I start blocking my rig. So that's also another concept that I brought from 3D, and this is super beautiful because this is something that I love that Steve Jobs said. It's like we only are able to connect the dots in our life, the dots that make sense in the things that we did in our life, looking backward, not looking forward. And looking backward, I am able to combine everything that I learned, even on my shortcuts that I'm going to share with you eventually. I combined all the shortcuts that I use in 3D, all the process that I use in 3D, all the process that I use on frame by frame, all the process that I use by learning traditional animation into my cutout animation workflow. So this is the process. The process is rough pass, I go rough pass to experiment with the timing, to experiment with the poses, and then on top of that rough pass, I do a quick blocking of my rig. So my rig doesn't look too polished like this at the beginning. It doesn't look too polished or clean like this at the beginning. I'm just trying to I'm just trying to I'm just trying to put this rig to move all the pieces super fast, super fast. Sometimes even not moving the formers, just moving pieces of the rig super fast around until I get this pose. First pass, first step, rough pass. Second step, blocking of the rig. Third step that I do on my third step is on top of that blocking pass, I do a tie down pass. I meaning like I go and I draw on top of my rig to clean up all the shapes to make it feel three-dimensional because in that tie down pass, in those draw overs that I do on top of my blocking rig that sometimes looks messy, on top of that is that I start designing how this line is going to curve. How can I make this a straight versus curve in this arm? How can I push this pose? And on top of that draw over, I'm going to do another pass, and in that other pass is the one that I am going to polish the rig. I polish the rig. So it's rough pass frame by frame, blocking with the rig, tie down frame by frame, polish with the rig. And once I have polish, then I just go to final animation. I go to final animation. So I don't do this I don't do this on each frame. I do this on my keys, on my breakdowns. So I use Toon Boom eventually to help me in between all of these frames. So the rough pass is a complete rough pass, complete animation. Then the blocking, I choose only the keys and the breakdowns from that rough pass, put my rig on top, and then I start doing a fast blocking of my rig. On top of that blocking of my keys and breakdowns only, I do a tie down pass, a pass in which I am drawing on top of the rig to be my own director and decide how I'm going to design this pose. And once I have this draw over that almost looks like a finished drawing of the character. Let me see if I can show you here another of these drawings here. Look at this title here. It's like I want this line here. Oopsie. Ah! I was like eyes blocked. I was like ah. What the heck? Where is this drawing? No, where is this drawing? Why are you messing up with me? Imagine I decided like I want this. I want this line like this. I want this line like this. So on top of this, I start placing my rig on top. See, the rig is exactly in there. But there you go. Maybe here the arm moves, but that's something that I, during the animation process, during the twinning process, is that I start moving some things around to create better arcs or just to push the timing. And that's the beautiful thing about cutout animation, is that we can always go back to these things and move pieces around without having to clean up again or to color again, just to keep pushing that timing. See? And it's really cool. This is a combination between a rough pass and a tie-down pass. So there you go. I combine both frame by frame and cutout animation because I don't really like at all just to move pieces around, and I feel like my final animations when I put that extra time on just going frame by frame and doing these drawings, it looks so much better. It looks so much better, and it looks three-dimensional. So there you go. And really, the only way to learn this is by just doing. The only way to learn all of this is by just doing. So this is the process. I'll go rough pass, complete rough pass. After the complete rough pass, I start blocking my rig on only on the keys and breakdowns on top of that rough pass. Then on top of that blocking pass, I do another pass, which is a tie-down pass, in which I'm going to start designing my lines and the pose of this character. On top of that pass, after that pass, I'm going to do a polish pass, in which I am tracing my rig, I am putting my rig and I'm tracing what I did on my draw overs. And then once I have my keys and breakdowns polished, I move to in between using the help of Toon Boom to help me in between of this, and then I go frame by frame. Just it's like I have my keys and breakdowns, and I sometimes go type of a straight ahead in the middle. I like to go straight ahead in the middles, and the in betweens, just checking all the arcs, checking all the movements. And at the same time, it's not only one method. There are different methods. I feel like this is the method that I like for myself because at the end of the day, you have to find your own method, not other people's method, because you have to feel like the method that works not works best, not only the one who works best for you, but also the method that you feel more comfortable and the one that you have more fun. And I have fun drawing, so that's why I draw a lot. That's why I draw on my rough pass. That's why I draw on my tie downs, and then on top of that I put my rig, and sometimes I draw again just to polish some frames. So because I love drawing, this is the process that I create for me to enjoy my own creative process. So I highly encourage you to look yours. And thank you very much for asking this question, because this is how I enjoy mine. And if something from the things that I say here can help you, amazing, amazing. And here you can see, for example, that's why I brought this rig here, because all of these poses that I designed here, on top of this, I had different passes. And I make sure if you go to the video on YouTube that I have, in which is how I pose these two poses here, you will see the exact same process that I mentioned to you in this video on that specific video. And I'll show you how I went from a rough pass, on top of that rough pass, a quick blocking, on top of that quick blocking, a quick tie down, designing the pose. On top of that, on top of that tie down, I push my rig into a polish look, and then boom, final poses. In Henry, but what about the twinning? What about twinning and animation and all of that? Everyone animates totally different in Toon Boom. I also have videos of me twinning in Toon Boom Harmony, and yeah, that's a different topic. But I think, yeah, as I told you, it's like looking a video of like the basics of how to do this from step by step. Sometimes you know what is better. Sometimes it's better to, for me, it's like, here, I have a footage for you of me going on top of a stage and playing guitar in real time with this crowd, so you can actually see how I struggle, how I broke this string in the middle of the song, but I keep playing because I didn't care. And that's the idea. Instead of going like step by step on a take or on a head turn, no, we are most of the time we're not only animating head turns. Most of the time we're animating crazy giant dogs fighting with golf players. So it's like if you really want to see someone going to war and applying all of these concepts into real scenes, I have the behind the scenes of these scenes, and even how I pose, how I try this rig after rigging this character, how I try and how to design this pose in real time with poses that I will really use in animation. And I think that will be very helpful than me creating a video of like, this is how you do a head turn, this is how you do I don't know, a wave hand like this. Because that's the only way to learn. It's not only by seeing someone going to the stage playing guitar and seeing how he broke the string in the middle of the song and he keep playing, but also inviting you. It's like, you know, Isabel, we'll love to see your animations. We'll love to see your animations. It's like, you know what, Isabel? Here, this is the guitar. I'm here. I'm giving you my guitar. This is my guitar. I would love to see you playing. I would love to see you animating. And feel free to reach out to let me know how this guitar that I borrowed to you, these techniques, this method helps you, so you can eventually be like, yeah, you know what? I really like this from this guitar, but eventually during the concert, I tried this other Telecaster and I fall in love with this one. So that's the idea. That's the idea. It's a process. It's a process, and everyone have to find the method that fits the best for their own taste. So there you go. Um, Basic of Rigi for animation in Tubu. I have no idea if I answer your question because, as I mentioned, I don't like to make fancy videos. I like to be super. I like to improve these things and just being able to give some tips here and there. And that's my process. The basics of real animation, express keys and methods. So send me a message. Send me messages through Instagram or through whatever you can. Send me a message through a DM, and I'll send you a link to all my shortcuts. What I did is I also put all the shortcuts on the left side of my keyboard, so I don't have to go around the keyboard like this, like this, like this to show all the to select or to click all the shortcuts. But my hand is in here and my other hand is here. And from here, it doesn't move to another place. So it's only here, it's only here, it's only here, and this one is only here. That's amazing because I don't waste time. My little brother used to tell me, like, Henry, you should animate like if you were in Call of Duty. Like, you don't see your DualShock when you are playing Call of Duty. When you're in Call of Duty, you're playing, and that's the idea. That's the idea. And make it a bit of like, this is my shortcut. Press C for this, press B for this, press W for this, and you can do this. 90% of the people that will see this video will not take the time to to configure those shortcuts at all, at all, at all, at all, at all, at all. So yeah, I'll rather just give you my shortcuts, export those shortcuts, and give it to you, and that's it. And that's it. So there you go. Organize the interface. I have the node view here. I have the drawing substitution here. I also have my library, so I can open this and grab my rigs and put it here. And I also have both my timeline view combining my frame by frame tools and my cutout animation tools, which are almost nothing here. I only need the play button here. It's like the simple that we make this, the easier will be for us. The simple that we make this, the easier will be for us. So there you go. Express your methods. It will be really helpful for someone like you. Just learn your animation. Yeah, I hope this video helps, Isabel. I hope this video helps. I'm literally doing the same process that I show you on all my scenes. Let me see if I can see another one here. Slap. This is a perfect example. A slap V02. This is a perfect example here. Look at this animation pack. This animation was done completely in a rough pass before going into the rigs. See, this is Johnny Rough. This is the dog Ruffs. Unlock this. Boom. See those drawers, and I just put the rig on top of those drawers, but because I love to draw, and I like to feel that I get out of here keys. Eh, and I love to feel that I am drawing while I am animating. See, bam, bam. And the cool thing is, like on my rough pass, I am so crazy that I like to break my rig like this. And guess what? Once I go to the rig, I try to use the deformers as I can to get to the craziness that I did on my rough pass. And that's the idea. And that's how I was able to also bring what I know in frame by frame and include it here in my on my rigs. And the cool thing, for example, here, you see that here these frames are not matching because I decided, like, when I look at this, I copy paste everything. And then when I look at my rig compared to my rough pass, I was looking at both and realizing, like, you know what? I don't need this frame because with this frame my animation looks super even and I want to be more punchy. So guess what? I get rid of that frame and I hold onto this frame more and then boom, jump into the other one. And that's the freedom. It's like your rough pass is not like the final look of your animation or how the animation will look at the end. It's just the ideas that you can put there super fast before starting to move the rig. And for me, it's importantissimo. It's really important. It's really important. And I love to design my lines. I love to design my lines. And then on top, I just put the rig, and that's the thing. Even because I do a complete rough pass, like you can see here, because I do a complete rough pass, once I go to twinning in Two Boom Harmony, I try to to create my curves, or to twin or to tweak my timing to go to look exactly as how my rough pass is going to look. So Toon Boom is like, I tell Toon Boom what I want. I don't rely on Toon Boom. I do this boom, and then I tell Toon Boom like I want this, and then I just go frame by frame until I get what I want here. I don't copy. I don't rotoscope everything frame by frame. I use the twins in Toon Boom Harmony, but then Toon Boom Harmony will never give me these frames that I design here. But still, I use the twin of Toon Boom Harmony to copy the positions, and then I go frame by frame on each position to be able to track the volumes, to track the arcs. So it's an interesting process, and as I mentioned, I record myself playing guitar on the stage, and I show you how I screw up in real time, and then how I was able to troubleshoot also in real time on all of those videos, because that's how I feel like we learn by or not by not on by first by practicing ourselves, but also seeing people actually going into war, actually problem solving in different situations. There you go. Even John. Let's see here, John. Boom. See, everything is wrong. Everything is wrong. And one of the things that I help with is I put the rig. I put the rig on top, and then I start doing my drawings on top of the rig, just to help me in terms of proportions to don't be super off. And see, something like this, a frame like this, I will never come up with a frame like this for this prop that is the glove. Never. But because I draw it, now I'm not limited by the software. One of the main things that I hear is like people being afraid of pushing their rigs because their rigs breaks, or just I hear once that I sometimes forget that the rigs are able to do this. The rigs are able to do whatever you want. The rigs are able to do whatever you want, because the limitation is not the rigs. The rigs are not the limitations. The rig deliver or not, sometimes the limitations are our artistic skills. So here you go. For example, here, see, this rig is super simple. Even the mouth is just drawings. I have no deformers on the mouth. Here the head is only this. This is only this. This is only this. I remember I was telling this to the mentor that I had at the time helping me on this project. And I was like, I did a rig super fast and super simple. It's super simple. And he was like, yeah, they used to do this on this studio too, because by having these rigs super simple, animators were able to just create new parts, break their rigs a lot, and just being able to push the rig as soon as possible. And so there you go. That's also a tip that I received a long time ago. It's like, if the rigs are simple, amazing. The more complicated the rigs, the more time that it takes to pose. And see, this rig is super, super, super simple. And how is that I went through these poses with this rig that looks super 3D? By drawing on top, by doing a rough pass, by doing a tight on pass, by just drawing on top. And maybe the process of me going rough, then block, then tie down, then polish, maybe you can do this in only 2 steps. I sometimes reduce that. I sometimes reduce all of that in 2 steps most of the time. So it depends. It always depends on the scene. But the only thing that I would love to tell you here, Isabel, is to find a method that works best for you, and that comes with time. And as you familiarize yourself with the software, you will improve your relationship with the software and the workflow, and you will be able to explore different methods, and you will soon be able to enjoy this process of animating as much as you enjoy frame by frame. And this is my method. I rely heavily on drawings. I rely heavily on drawings to push the rigs, to make those rigs feel 3D. But not only that, to also bring back that feeling of frame by frame animation into my cutout digital animation style. So there you go. Hope this helps. Send me a message, and I'll send you the shortcuts that I have. And other than that, hope this helps. Hope this helps, and have fun. Have fun, because that's the most important idea on all of this. Having fun. And thank you very much for all the kind comments. See you next time. Bye bye.